Thank you for checking in the Hoops Hitting Gems podcast. I'm your host, David Jones. I want to thank you guys for checking in as usual, all of our listeners all over the country. Episode 31. It's been a ride. Thank you guys for sticking with us since last November. Loyal listeners, you guys have been on every week, and we thank you guys. Got another great show as usual. We have Coach Shatil Bradford from the University of West Georgia. After that, she is now known as Coach Shah, and we're going to definitely have a good in-depth conversation with her. How you doing today, Coach Shah?
I'm doing good. How you doing today?
I'm doing real good. We want to thank you for coming on the show. Like, we've been trying to make this happen for a minute, and I'm glad we're able to get you on. We're going to jump right into this. Tell us some more about West Georgia. Tell us about, we're going to talk about the conference. Just tell us in general, give us a nice little introduction for the people that don't know about the University of West Georgia.
Well, we are the University of West Georgia. We're in Carrollton, Georgia. We're about an hour outside of Atlanta. And we're also an hour and a half away from Birmingham, about 90 miles. So we're a pretty good location as far as close to the cities. We're also close to Douglasville and Noonan, LaGrange, if you're familiar with Georgia area. We are Division II. We're in the Gulf South Conference. My head coach is Scott Groniger. I am the assistant coach. I've been here for 4 years. My head coach, he is going on year 12. And so he's been in the conference over almost 20 years. And so we are just really trying to build our program to be the best we can be. I mean, every year, of course, everybody knows the COVID struggle was a little struggle. Yeah. But being able to come back and be full force, we were actually one of the fortunate teams that were able to play last year. But I love our team. I mean, we have so many kids that have come back. We've only added 4 this year. So we have a pretty good base of kids that have came back, and we're looking to be pretty good this year and work hard. The goal, everybody's goal when we came back is, hey, we want to work hard, be stronger, be a better team. Every day we want to be 1% better.
Gotcha. I always love that little moniker right there. I know Coach Corey Black uses that a lot, that 1% better, and that always sticks with me right there. So you guys are in the Gulf South Conference, which is a very good conference on the D2 level. Tell us some more about the conference, and tell us what were you preseason pick this year?
We haven't got that yet.
Okay.
So we actually won't start our first official practice until October 15th. So that's Friday. So we really haven't even got into that. And honestly, we try to stay away from it, because if you pick first, everybody's got that on their back and they're like, I'm first and my head's up high. And if I'm picked last, I'm kind of aiming for some people. But the goal is we just want to be better.
Yeah.
However that looks. Our conference is pretty tough. We play in the conference with Valdosta. They won it last year. We're in the conference with Lee, Union, University of West Florida, Shorter University, AUM, Montevallo. So our conference is really tough. Every day, there's no day when you go in and you say, I'm going to win this game. No, every day is a challenge. You're going to play against some competitive women. And a lot of these girls, you're like, where did she come from? And so we always got to come out ready to play.
Gotcha. So let me ask this. So I noticed looking at your roster, you were definitely Atlanta and Georgia heavy, definitely. Do you guys recruit regionally, or how does that work for you guys? How do you guys prefer to recruit?
We prefer to get kids that are great kids. I can't say that we just want to go regionally recruit, but if you look at our roster right now, a lot of the kids that we have on our roster, I want to say about 7 or 8 of our kids came in as freshmen. And so coming as far as from a recruiting standpoint, we get a lot of our high school freshmen, incoming freshmen, we get them from the state of Georgia because they have that incentive of being an in-state kid, maybe being Hope, being a Zell Miller scholar. And so that helps us, especially in the recruiting process. I was talking to someone earlier, Division II, we just have a money amount. We don't have like Division I where you say, hey, you have 15 fools, period. we have a certain money amount, and so we have to make that work. And so if you tell us, hey, I can get a kid that's a Georgia kid, great athlete, and they're an academic, let's say they're Hope or they're Zell Miller, yeah, I'm going to go after that kid probably before I go after a kid from Florida who might have the same amount of talent, but they don't get as much incentive for being in state. And so we say it all the time, Georgia and Atlanta, I mean, you can find an elite athlete in Atlanta.
That's true.
So why do I need to leave to find that elite athlete that's right here? Now, if I can't recruit those kids, that's different, but I can. I want you to come to West Georgia. I want you to stay in the state. And one thing about me and my head coach, Scott Greiniger, is we value family. And so having kids that are closer in proximity to their families, they get to go home for Christmas. They get to go home for Thanksgiving. Yeah. You have that opportunity for them to still have a life and have that work-life balance. Like, you come to play, you come to practice, but when you have a break, like we just had fall break, every kid we had went home. We have one kid from out of this region, and she's from Iowa, but her parents moved down here. Okay. So, we have people who have the opportunity to go home, and that's a luxury that we like to use in the recruiting circle. It's like, hey, we want you to enjoy your family.
Yeah. Okay. What type of majors, because we always know that's going to be an important thing when you're recruiting, what type of majors does West Georgia offer?
We have a plethora. So with West Georgia, we have the biggest e-core, which is online course offerings in the state of Georgia. Wow. And so a lot of our kids might do online courses. As far as on campus, we have nursing, we have sports management, which is a big one with athletes. We have criminology, we have physical education, we have business, we have marketing, we have communications. So we have quite a plethora of majors that a lot of kids want. I mean, the one that I've heard of recently that we don't have is architecture.
Yeah.
It's not many that say, hey, I want to be an architect.
Yeah.
But again, it's just certain things that we have to look for. But we have quite a bit to choose from. So we have more opportunities, and we offer a big offering for master's programs as well.
Okay, nice. I like that. So what I've been seeing from a trend, if you have any kids that are usually looking to go into coaching, they usually take that sports management route, don't they?
I have a few taking the sports management route. I think with a lot of people, when they hear sports management, it's like, oh, I can be a coach. And yeah. I think that's a lot of what it is at first. But it's like, what we try to get our athletes to understand is, hey, what does that actually mean? If I'm sports management, that means I can do a plethora of things. I might be the business. I might be the marketing. I might be the management of a facility. Like, that's not just specific to, hey, I want to be a coach. If you really want to be a coach, you might want to go take physical education, or you could be a sports management with a coaching minor. There's so many routes that you can take, but always the goal in mind is, what is your goal after graduation? And then let's work backward from that. Let's figure out what can get you there to be in the best position to be the greatest you can be.
Okay. And so when you said you can do the sports management with a coaching minor, does West Georgia offer a coaching minor?
Yes.
Okay.
And we actually do have some coaches teaching those coaching classes, as well as some people in sports management.
Okay. I like that. Now, one of the things that definitely caught my attention early is you guys are the biggest e-core in the state. So I'm assuming a lot of your athletes take advantage of that for the simple fact, especially in season, correct?
I wouldn't say all of them or majority, because still, like, what COVID taught a lot of my players is that they do value face-to-face interaction. And they value that going to classroom, especially with us at Division II. It's not as big with us traveling that they miss a lot of classes. And so our schedule is pretty easy going in that sense. There's not a lot of Friday classes, and most of the time that is when our overnight trips may be. So on the majority of the side, we have kids that actually go sit in face-to-face classes. But we do have a select few that say, hey, I want to be online. My only thing is, if you're going to be online, you got to show me that you can do it. You got to prove that that's something that you have that focus and that like determination. I'm gonna get my work done ahead of time because that's what that requires. You can't be behind on anything.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more. So let's talk about you. Before you came to West Georgia, what was your background before you came to West Georgia?
So I was actually at Tuskegee University, Tuskegee, Alabama, for 2 years.
Okay.
Previous to that, I was at Columbus State for 2 years as a GA, but I actually graduated from Columbus State as well. So I went straight out of playing into being a graduate assistant, and I was a two-sport athlete. So I did basketball and I did track.
Okay. Wow. Nice. So what are you looking at this year for West Georgia? What's the roster looking like? I mean, we said, preseason rankings aren't out yet, but what's your feeling on this year's team?
I think I like my team because we're a more well-rounded team. Last year, we struggled in the post department. It was just, we had injuries that kind of hurt us early. I mean, we had an ACL, we had a torn labrum, we had fluid on one of our posters' knee. So we kind of had a lot that we kind of went through last year, just trying to stay healthy. And so this year we have made it a point to make sure we come in healthy, we put in the work, and we get stronger. So I think my team right now is just well-rounded. I like everyone on my team. I can't say that I want somebody else's team. We're working hard.
Okay. So what type of style, let's get a little bit deeper into what you guys like at West Georgia. What type of style of play do you like on the offensive side?
We like to go fast. One of the things that we enjoy is we like, when we recruit, we look for longer guards. We like more leaner post because we want to be able to move. We don't want anybody holding us back on how fast we can get down the floor. We want to get more points in transition than we do in the half court set. And so for us, it's about trying to get more possessions than the other team, creating more possessions. We want to press. We want to create that offense from our defense. And so for us, that's huge. We talk about tell kids all the time, like, hey, we want our guards to be 5'8". When you look at our roster, you're going to look across the board. Our shortest kid is 5'6", and our tallest is 6'2". Okay. We want you long. And so you got to come with value if you don't fit into that.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, the other side of the ball, what type of defense do you like?
We like to mix it up. So we like to press. We like to drop down in the zone. We like to kind of go at you with a little fire every now and then. We like to use our length and our quickness. That's always the goal. We want to get our hands in those passing lanes. We want to kind of go the other way. We don't want to ever just sit there and just be stagnant. We want everything to kind of move at a fast pace. Okay.
So you're looking at, you prefer the game to be in the 60s and 70s or more?
Yeah. I mean, most games are going to be, especially when you get more possessions.
Absolutely. Definitely. Absolutely. Now, one of my questions that everybody knows I'm going to ask, do you play man or zone?
We play both.
Okay. You play both. Now, with that being said, if you play both, that means it's essential that, preferred, I won't say essential, but almost is, that somebody comes into West Georgia and knows the shell drill. Is that correct?
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah. But to be honest with you, we rarely run shell drill.
Really?
Really. My boss he's a former men's coach.
Okay.
And so he ran shell a lot way back, and he's like, that's one of the drills he doesn't like. So really? we kind of go away from it a lot. I can't say we haven't done it, but I can't say that we do it a lot either. We recently just invested in a new, invention. What is it? Defense on a string.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of it, but a couple of D1s, we've kind of saw it on Instagram, and we love it. It's basically like bungee cord. Each kid has a belt. And it's like a stretch band, but it's covered.
Okay.
And so literally, we have used it for so many different things. We've used it for conditioning. We used it for strength training, doing slides. I would definitely recommend everybody look it up on Instagram. She has a couple of videos out there, but that has been a good thing for us because everyone is connected on defense now. And so if we do the shell drill and we pass it over to the wing or the corner, everybody has to move or they're going to pull you. It hurts if you don't move.
When I get off tonight, I'm going to look that up. To be honest, the producer is in the background, like, yeah, he's like he loves the concept.
Yeah, and you can break it down. You can have one. You can have one person holding another. It can be as small as 2, or you can get as much as 10.
Okay, so that kind of replaces, like, you know, what I almost want to call the Bible of defense with the shell drill, and you replace it with this concept, correct?
Yeah. Essentially, that's what you're doing. And I'm telling you, it's kind of like, imagine how you would be held on a Vertimax.
Yes.
But you're holding body weight with one of your teammates. And so you got to play defense on somebody. And like, we'll do 2-on-2. And so if we're going 2-on-2, you got to move with your teammate. If you don't move at the same time, guess what? Y'all going 2 opposite directions. Y'all going to pull each other back to each other.
Exactly. Yes. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, just even listening to, I'm imagining the concept as you're explaining it, and boy, that forces them to play together.
Yes.
Yes, I like that. Well, you're gonna have me up late tonight, so if I hit you up tomorrow, Tom, and I'm sleepy, this is your fault.
I'm just telling you. I mean, I think we caught it on might have saw an Instagram story from Georgia. And they were promoting it. And I was like, hold on now. I like that.
Okay.
And we bought it and we've loved it ever since.
Wow. So, we also have an AAU program as well. And I mean, just listening to this concept, I think that would benefit our kids as well. Oh my goodness.
Because people don't like playing defense no more. It's all about, I got to shoot the 3. I got to be able to hit it in transition. So it really teaches the idea that you have to be able to move together. What is help side? Are you there?
Yes. I love it. I mean, what you're saying, because boy, that forces especially younger kids to move in unison and move together, like you're saying. And then it becomes second nature once you guys are doing this every day, or how many times a week you're doing it. It's forcing them to react that way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because, like you said, if you don't work together, it's going to pull you both back together. Correct? I like that. I like that. That's genius right there. And I've never heard of it until that's crazy because
I think she just started selling it maybe a couple months ago.
Okay. And the producer's like, if you don't help side your teammate, he's going to drag you across the floor.
And that's exactly right. I mean, our strength and conditioning guy, he has found different drills that he wants to use with it. Uh-huh. And our girls are like, whew, they'll take it off and they're like, whew, coach, I'm tired. Because it doesn't work out. And they're like, if you don't pull, you don't move, it's over for you.
Wow. So does this mechanism come with like videos of stuff you can use, or do you have to go online? How does that work?
It doesn't come with videos. I still think it's new in the invention process because I was kind of telling the inventor, I told her, I said, we've been using it for conditioning and different things like that. And she was like, I didn't even think like that. But, there's many ways you can just be creative with it. But she does have a Instagram page, Defense on the String. And so she has a couple of videos of just demonstrating how to use it and how they've used it and that kind of stuff.
Nice. Like I said, I might clip our little conversation right there and have people say, hey, you might want to check this out, this Defensive on the String. It sounds like it's revolutionary and it really works because the concept is forcing, like I said, it's forcing your team to work together, or if not, like the producer said, either you're going to get dragged across the floor or you're going to be extremely tired when you take it off. but that helps in fourth quarter because you're also conditioning as well. So
exactly. I think it's
I'm
perfect.
thinking all of this. I'm thinking of it.
Yeah, like us teaching our defense is perfect for it.
Okay. Boy, you dropped one right there just unknowingly. I never heard that before, but I mean, like I said, the producer, we work together on the program, and I'm like I said, it's knowledge that's given. I appreciate that. I almost went off topic of what I'm even thinking about next. Because, man, I mean, like I said, I thought it was different when you said your coach doesn't play, the quote unquote,
traditional shell,
yeah. And you play a mixture of man and zone. That's interesting. So if you play a mixture of man and zone, that means you trapped in.
Occasionally we do.
Okay, now that's really I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think your brain, thinking if you're going to do both. And you said you play fast. I would think the way you play that would end up trapping because you're playing both man and zone. Or are you just basically going, okay, we're going to drop back, or we may go 3/4 press, or
and that's what I mean by mixture. So it really depends on who we're playing. But
okay,
what can we get off of this team? Do you have a weak point guard? Is it somebody we really want to go up there? You only got one ball handler. Yeah. I mean, it really comes down to the scout for the most part. But for us, like, we want to have a couple different defenses that we can go talk to. Like, if we want to come in the huddle and say, hey, we're going to go 5. Or, hey, we going to go full man. Or we're going to go, hey, we're going to drop down in a diamond press. Like, we want to be able to say we got a couple of different defenses. We don't want to just say, oh, we're strictly 2-3 zone team, or hey, we're 1-3-1 zone team. Like, we want to be able to say, oh, I got all of that. It just depends on the team we playing.
And we mix it up if need be.
Yeah, and every year, I mean, your personnel, yes, we have 8 coming back, but like I said, we didn't really have a lot of posts last year. Yeah. So we didn't really want to do too much with those posts to get tired, and then we got to take them out or they get in foul trouble. So each year your personnel changes, and maybe last year we were grading a 2-3, and this year we're grading a man. So it really depends on which one does our personnel fit this year.
Gotcha. So when you say your post players, because that's an interesting question as well, do you prefer the stretch post or do you prefer the classic back-to-back post?
We want both.
Both. Okay.
The way our league is, there's a lot of stretch 4s.
Okay.
And then you have the occasional team that has a couple back to the basket posts. So if I have a stretch 4, I want her to be able to handle the block. So you can shoot outside. That's great. You can stretch out the floor, but I need you to be able to defend on the inside. So I need you to be strong enough to handle that if we come up against that team that got 2 on the inside. Gotcha. I don't need to be trying to cover you up on the weak spot. Like, hey, this is a mismatch. Hey, she can't handle it on the block. I need you. If there's a post-on-post ball screen, can you handle a 5? Can you get there? That's the kind of kid we really look for.
I like that. So, as you're talking this and I'm really thinking about it, help side is definitely almost pivotal for what you guys run. So yes, in certain words, you don't do the traditional shell, but you all are strong on that help side, because just the way you're talking this, I'm like, boy, if that help side don't come, it's going to be a long day.
Yeah,
long day.
That's for sure.
Do you guys rebound as a team? Let me ask that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got the guards down there getting down and dirty and boxing out too, right?
Everybody got to learn how to go get a rebound.
Yeah, I agree. But, sometimes people get kind of spoiled when they have all conference 4s and 5s. Sometimes they let them guards leak out a little bit because, they got 2 or 3 that really get after it. But I always like seeing the scrappy teams where all 5 of them are getting after it, getting on the floor, whatever needs to be done. And, that's not to knock anybody that's blessed enough to have an all-conference or all-American 4 or 5.
But they need help, too.
Yeah.
That kid can't do it all game by themselves.
I agree. But, a lot of times, think about it, and the world we live in now, they'll be like, oh, we only need 2 or 3 down there because we got the advantage. And I'll be like, well, that's going to bite you when it gets time for tournament time.
I'm not that fortunate, so everybody wants everything. Okay.
I got you. I definitely got you. Okay. So, as we're just talking and, just really shooting the breeze about this, one of the big questions I have, because when we were talking backstage, you mentioned family, you mentioned what's the long goal? If I graduate, can I come back to West Jordan and say, hey, coach, I was thinking about coaching. Can I come and get a GA position here? Is that available?
Possible. I mean, we've had 2 kids come back as GAs in the past couple of years that I've been there.
Okay.
But every GA that we've had since I've been here has been somebody that has been a part of our program, not just 1 year.
Yes.
So one thing we kind of pride ourselves on when we recruit, we don't do a lot of grad transfers, because the big thing for us is we want you to come, like when we get you in our program, we want you here for at least 2 years, because we want you to graduate. We want you to get a job, move out into the workforce. When you get those kids that are grad transfers and they only got 1 year, we don't have really any 1-year graduate programs. Okay. And so I'm going to get you for a year, and then now you're out to dry trying to figure out how I'm going to graduate, even if it's a grad degree. Mm-hmm. So we always want to push that in the beginning. Like we talk about this weekly. We have, every one of our players has a planner that we made. And so it has like our protocols and stuff in the beginning. And then it has a calendar, like a regular planner. But then we also have an academic section and we have a goals section. And so in our goals this year, in the past, it's always been they have to make 3 monthly goals. Okay. And we do it every month. Okay. This year we changed that, and where we're talking about, hey, because we have 6 kids that are graduating. That doesn't necessarily mean they're all leaving. Okay. This year, just because of the extra COVID year. But we have 6 kids that are graduating by the end of summer next year. And so my thing for them is, hey, we need to start talking about what's the next goal in your life. And so we're talking about what's your 3-month goal, what's your 6-month goal, and what's your year goal.
Absolutely.
And you're writing it all down, because when you meet with me or Coach G at the beginning of every week, we're trying to hold you accountable. Yes. Where are you on this goal list? We're looking at your academics. Yeah, that's only a part of it. But what are you going to do with this degree once you get it? What's the plan? Do you have any other goals? Like, do I want to get closer with my mom? Do I want to earn some money so I can buy my first apartment? Do I want to build my credit score? Like, these are things that we're talking about, because we realize that's a real life thing. Just that transition from being a college athlete to not being a college athlete anymore. So we need to talk about that. We need to talk about you transitioning into the workforce and understanding that scholarship and a paycheck is 2 different things.
Absolutely.
There's real money, there's fake money.
Exactly. Do you guys have kind of like an exit interview? Because everything you're talking almost sounds like an exit interview to prepare them for the real world.
We actually have a new athletic director who's trying to implement that this year. We haven't in the past. Okay. We kind of do like our own talks with our players. I guess you would consider that an exit interview, but we don't collect any data. Okay. But it's just talking about a program and what did you take from it? Did we help you? The biggest thing for us is like, hey, did that kid get a job? Hey, did that kid get that degree when they finish their eligibility? Like, that's what we're kind of more so looking at more than anything else.
Yeah. And that also is big because, as we all know, that's big on your APR as well, which you guys got to keep track of, correct?
We're Division II, so we don't have the APR kind of regulations.
Even on Division II, I thought Division II had APR regulations.
I mean, you can have it. You have it to look at, but it's not necessarily you have to.
So you still have to abide by it, and it's not, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, like Division I, like you don't meet this APR, it's like reprimand, all that kind of stuff. We don't necessarily, like, that's something our athletic directors have discretion over. Like, hey, what does this look like? But for my boss, he's had, I want to say it's 35 kids that have been seniors in our program, and 33 of them have graduated.
Wow. Okay, that's major right there. Okay. Hey, man, I like everything I hear about West Georgia.
Hey, you got to come check us out.
Well, I was there. I was around the corner.
You was around the corner, but you wasn't on campus.
I was on campus, not this week. I was on campus last week for Corey Black's event. And the first thing I said is, man, you guys have beautiful facilities for a D2. I was like, these are really D1 facilities. Yeah. And anybody that's been to West Georgia wholeheartedly agrees with that, because that was my first time on campus. And look, I'm driving in. I was like, oh man, okay. And I got to the gym. I was like, oh yeah, man, we can do this here. This is nice.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, I'm like, if I can get you on campus,
oh yeah,
I can sell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's just about getting you here, because sometimes people come in, they might come from the country road and they'll be like, Coach, I didn't see anything here. I'm like, hold on now. You just didn't go on the right road, because we got what you need. We're close enough to get everything else you need.
That's true. That is true. And as I think about it, like, I compare your facilities like to Augusta's. Like, Augusta has a nice facility similar to yours. And I was like, man, you just said it. That's the selling point right there. Of course, on top of everything else that you guys do. But like, I've seen some D1s that aren't on the level that you guys have. I was like, oh, this is better than a number of lower D1s that, not to put nobody's business out there. But I was like, man, this is nice. This is real nice. So yeah, I can see you with your salesman suit on and putting in some work, because I mean, that's a huge selling point. I mean,
every athlete wants to know, hey, what the gym look like? What kind of access do I get? And I tell kids all the time, I'm like, okay, you can call a lot of other schools and they'll say, hey, we share the gym with the boys, and with volleyball's in season, we might have to go to the auxiliary gym. In our main gym, we have 5 full courts.
Yep.
So we've literally had men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, cheerleading, all in there at one time. And we can do it. Yeah. Everybody can have their own clock. We can have our own court. We can do what we need to do.
I can definitely back up everything you're saying. That's not no sales pitch, because you absolutely can. That's a beautiful facility. Like I said, when we were there last week, they were running 4 of the courts at one time simultaneously, and they were all regulation. So let me be clear. It wasn't it's 4 courts where 1 or 2 are like half courts.
Right.
No, all
that's the big difference. And it's all a hardwood floor. It's not,
it is.
Hey, some of these floors are not necessarily regulation floor or different kind of material, whatever. Yeah.
Nah, not at all. I will back her on this one. I mean, she is not lying on that one. That is a beautiful facility. I know, like, a lot of some of the D2 pages and some of the other people that advocate for D2 and NAI, I haven't seen West Georgia's facility on there yet, but I see what they do is they post like NAI and D2 facilities and say, hey, this is actually a D2 facility. And you'll see the comments like, what, really? And be like, yeah, you guys need to get out there and take a look at this. And one thing we pride ourselves on, we take our AAU team out to Division II and NAI games. Number one, to see the competition of the Peach Belt and the Gulf South, where people understand, like, hey, this is, the kids will be like, hey, these guys are good. Yeah, we've been trying to tell y'all that
some of these teams can be some of these Division I teams.
Exactly. Now you're gonna get my head chopped off.
I'm sorry.
But it's only the truth, what you're saying.
And that's why we had the conversation. When I'm talking to kids, it's a lot about, my first question is, are you open to Division II? And some of these kids, you say this and they're like, no, coach, I want to go D1. I got to go D1. Well, why is it that you want to go D1? What is it that the misinformation that you've been told makes you just want to go Division I? You don't give Division II a time of day, because
it's the quote unquote aura of being on Division One. But see, what like you just said, people don't understand. Every Division One team is not on ESPN. It's not on ABC. You know what I'm saying? Some of them are taking not as well travel plans like you all. You know what I'm saying? People be, when they fully understand, like, hey, this is a low D1 and they may not have the budget. May not have the same budget like a West Georgia or an
Yeah.
Augusta or something like that. And then once you put all of that in front of their faces, unfortunately, a lot of times it's too late because it's May, June, and you guys aren't some where you're taking leftovers. You guys are done by that time recruiting.
Yeah.
So, that's where you get the quote unquote, the person say, Coach, I'm D1, but it's May. Like, hey, I'm just checking in, see how everything's going. You think you can take me? Now you got the keys to the Bentley. Now we're full now, unfortunately. And one thing I like to say is people don't understand that at the very least, give the coach the time of day, because you never know where Coach Shaw may be tweeting out next year or the year after, hey, I'm the head coach now.
Yeah. They don't hear that though. Not necessarily something I'm saying, but I say that to a lot of kids too. And you don't necessarily know who you're talking to.
Exactly.
Because a lot of these, like, we as coaches, we talk to other coaches.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, if I talk to you and I said, I can come back to a coach and say, for instance, I was at the tournament this weekend, JUCO tournament. Another coach, one of my friends, she asked me, she said, hey, I saw you offered this kid. Tell me about her. I've never had a conversation. Luckily for her, all I could say was, the kid is a great kid. She has great manners, great family. Like, she gets that it's not all about basketball. Because that's how she presented herself. But what if she was on the other spectrum of that and it was a kid and I was like, ooh, she was rude. She cut me off before I could even tell her about my university, and that happens a lot of the time. And it's like, hey guys, this is a small world. Coaching, even other high school coaches, because if you're at a high school game and you show your butt one day, bad attitude, you don't know. I may know the opposing team's head coach. And I tell them, hey, I'm recruiting this kid. I saw y'all play against her. What did you think? Coach, she had a really bad attitude. I didn't like how she handled the game. She had bad sportsmanship. We listen to that. That's a huge thing for us. It's like, if I talk to another coach and they tell me that, they've seen it firsthand, especially if I trust this person.
Does that back you off automatically, or do you approach with caution?
It depends. Okay. Is your production bigger than your problem?
I like that. And you just said something I definitely want to harp on. If I could have took a picture, I definitely would. So when I was at the JUCO showcase, even though we missed each other there, the first thing I noticed is when you walk in, all the coaches are right there. But what people don't understand, all of y'all are talking and giggling before you get into evaluation mode, because you all know each other. Some of you all played together. Some of you all have coached together at other stops. And I wish people would understand, like, one of my biggest things is these coaches talk. And like, even when I come in and, now that we actually know each other, I'm like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? And, I may say, who you looking at? I'm looking at number 21 or number 22. And all it takes is a small conversation. Like you said, like, she's good. But I was like, she's a firecracker. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You were like, oh, okay. One of those. Or I'm like, you're not going to be able to get her into school because of your grade standard. Yeah. Something like that. And I'm like, so, yes, she looks good on paper, but the other stuff is kind of glitter, because she's not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to recruit her for those various reasons. So you're looking at it as me doing you a solid. And just like I have no problem saying, hey, I seen you guys you brought such and such on campus for a visit. tell me about her. I'm like, I don't know much about her, but I keep hearing her name. And a lot of times you guys are like, oh, I love this kid. This kid does X, Y, and Z. This kid has a real future. You may be saying she's a steal on this level or whatever you may say. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that. I was like, I'm just trying to catch up because you might have found that gym out there in the woods somewhere that didn't know anybody know about. So now that you found that gym and tweeted out, everybody, hey, who's that? Because, a lot of times, you guys roll in circles. So, sometimes you guys are recruiting the same kid. So, from that standpoint, I'm like, oh, yeah, I already know you and 2 other Gulf Souths and 2 other Peach Belts are all over her. She has that type of skill. So, yes, it's obvious that her skill speaks for herself. But like when I see just a West Georgia per se, and I'm like, okay, I don't see nobody else on the list. That lets me know you are going out of your way for this kid to say you see something in her that maybe other coaches don't see yet, and she may blow up. Maybe she's a 2023, and you see like, oh yeah, another year of work. Everybody's going to want her, but we want to get in early on her. And I've seen that time and time again. And you all have different recruiting methods. None of you all do the same thing. All of y'all have your own spin on it. And I always think it's incredible. I just want people to understand that, when you're recruited, understand a lot of times it takes a cosign from another coach, high school, one of your peers or something like that to sign off. Like, yeah, I saw the same thing. She's the real deal. Or like you said, you'd be like, pay attention to her footwork. That's not it right there.
And then sometimes I tell players too, is just because you didn't see me in your gym doesn't mean I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Because another thing is like it might be a Division I coach that goes to the game and they say, she's not good enough for my level, but hey, my homegirl, she got an open. She's looking for a post player.
Yeah.
Let me call her.
But now we're getting into this. So here's where the problem comes. So yeah, the D1 was in the gym, and the D1 is a reality person. And like, you're not good enough for my level, or you're not quite what I'm looking for. You might not have a skill set, but hey, my homegirl will take you. But then, like you said, that's when that attitude comes in, like D2, and you see that nose start to turn up. You know what I mean? And so now you're short because, like you said, you don't have time to be chasing somebody that doesn't even want to entertain you.
Yeah, because there's plenty of kids out there that are open and do want something like West Georgia. So, hey, ain't no sense in me wasting my time. Once you tell me I ain't it, okay, I wish you the best of luck, and I'm going to move on.
Okay, so let me ask the question that ties into that. So what if you first approach her and, she had the big school at her game. She's feeling herself. So you come to her and be like, hey, I've been recommended to you. And she's like, oh, coach, I'm D1, or I'm trying to do this. Then reality sets in because that's the last D1 coach that comes in the gym. So now she gives you a call back. How do you take that? Do you say, okay, I'm going to entertain you, or is it she's crossed off?
It depends on how you blew me off. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
If you were nice, if you were a kid who was like, hey, coach, I want to see what other options I have out there before I can say that I am open to Division II, but I'll keep you on the list, I can respect that.
Okay.
But if you're one of them kids, coach, no, I'm not going Division I. That is not something that I ever see myself doing. You one of those, I'm going to be like, okay. Because you might never be happy here because we are the true Division II. So if you're not going to be happy, why would I bring you here?
Great point. Excellent point. Some people, and I get that they're kids and, they're going to make mistakes, so to speak. But as you would agree, that first impression, a lot of times is everything. And, if you come and extend yourself out to a kid, the least they can do is say, coach, thank you for, the opportunity. I'm going to try and go this route for right now. But if it's not, working out, yes, I would love to go to West Georgia, and they may even back up to say, yes, coach, I want to keep you in the loop, but I got 5 or 6 D1s that just contacted me last night or last week or whatever the case may be. But again, as we all know, those D1s may bring them on campus and give them that workout, and they get the shock of their life where they're struggling to keep up with that D1 talent. Because I was telling people yesterday, I was like, man, people don't understand how serious JUCO basketball is. People have this misconception. Oh, I'll go in there and average 30. No, you won't.
The ones who average 30 is fine in between.
Exactly. And if they average 30, like we could say yesterday, Mississippi State was there. Penn State was there. I mean, there was some high majors there. So, yeah, they'll see you. But like I said, your West Georgias is there. Your Shorters are there. Your other D2, I forgot my guy's name. Clayton. In Tennessee, I forgot the guy's name in Tennessee. He was there. Kings was there.
Yeah.
And
Tuskegee,
the Tuskegee was there. And so, like, I pay attention to everybody that walks through the door. All you guys, I'm looking at shirts, I'm looking at faces, because if I haven't met you before, 9 times out of 10, we've talked through Twitter or whatever the case may be. So now it's time to, do the rough introduction. But man, I mean, you guys are just as aggressive on these recruits. A lot of times D1s are like, well, we came down here just to see such and such, because that's what we need. I'm not here to see XYZ unless she just completely wows me. Like, you guys have a different approach when you guys are looking like, hey, come check us out. Hey, this is what we can do. Of course, you have needs like a D1 does, but the crazy part to me, like, a lot of D1s, they have set in stone who they're looking for. And even if it is somebody that's halfway they're interested in, the first thing out their mouth is, who offered?
Yeah. That's the thing. A lot of these kids now, it's about how many offers can I collect, not necessarily the quality of the offer. Like, is this a school that I actually see myself being at? That's what I ask these kids now. Is like, okay, you got 10 offers, but out of the 10, which ones have you visited? Which ones can you actually see yourself playing and being a part of?
Coach, I got to take it a step further than what you just said. How many of those offers are committable?
A lot of people don't know the difference.
Exactly.
You got to offer your junior year, but have you talked to him since?
Exactly.
But that's a whole nother answer. I say is a football coach, so I hear about the uncommittables all the time. This is an uncommittable offer. Just want you to know that. But you can say you got an offer.
Yeah, I mean,
Division II. I mean, if you get a Division II offer, I could offer you $1,000. I'll offer you. What does that mean, though?
Absolutely. Like you just said, we could go another good minute on that one, because I hate with sometimes people dangle that out there and they're really not that serious. And, it's just to say, hey, I'm looking at you. You're, without this being said, you're 5th or 6th on my list. If all else fails, we'll give you a call. But usually 9 times out of 10, especially in the world we're living in with the transfer portal and JUCO now, high school kids already have it tough. So if I say, hey, I'm floating this out here, yeah, we'll offer you. But sometimes, depending on the school, and they offering like 3-4 other kids at that same position, just in case, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I tell coaches all the time. I reiterate the players, because we hear a lot of times at West Georgia, it is, why haven't y'all offered this kid? I know you've seen her. I know she's good. Why haven't you offered? If you see somebody has a UWG offer from us, if they've posted it, they tagged us in it, and they said they got an offer from us, you better be sure they'd have been on campus probably 2-3 times by that time. Like, at the end of the day, we don't offer kids. Like, if we offer you, it's because we have a legit spot for you. So if we got 4 offers out here right now, that means we expect 4 kids on this to accept. We ain't just offering just the offer. Now, if we get 2 out of the 4, okay, I'm gonna go back to the drawing board and I'm gonna move down my list. Now, we also offer with the intent that, like, hey, in a couple weeks, you got to make a decision because we don't offer early, we offer late. So if I offer you now and then you tell me November 1st, I'm like, hey, sign the day around the corner. I need you to let me know something. And you still ain't figured it out, baby girl, we're gonna have to move on.
That's I need to stop you and freeze you on that one because this is a clipping moment that needs to be replayed. So when you offer somebody, and I'm not, don't give me an exact date, around about time, 3 weeks, you need to know something?
It depends. Am I offering you in the fall or am I offering you in the spring?
Give me both. Give me both scenarios.
If I offer you in the fall, before the early signing period, I'm gonna get you to the early signing period.
Okay, so let's just say you offered me. Let's say you offered me October 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically giving me until the first week of November.
Yeah. I want to know something. Now, if you say, hey, coach, I want to continue to look at my options, I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna let you know I'm gonna continue to look at mine. Your offer's still on the table, but if somebody else accepts before you do, I'm sorry.
Okay, good. So with that being said, so you were upfront and honest, and I respect the heck out of that. So
we're gonna tell you the truth. One thing about West Georgia, we're gonna tell you the truth, good or bad.
So let me ask you this. So let's say Susie gets offered first and Tanya gets offered second. Susie can't make up her mind. So as you said, you say, hey, Susie, I'm gonna keep my options open. Well, Tanya comes right behind us like, I love West Georgia. I'm taking it. She takes it. Is it unwritten rule that if she sees it on Twitter that you're no longer interested? Or is it, hey,
she'll have a conversation with us before that becomes a thing. So we'll have a conversation with her. So if I said, I don't remember if it was Susie or whoever you said the first time. Let's say we offered that kid at October 1st.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She doesn't accept by the early signing period.
Correct.
Okay, but then we offer another kid December 1st. And she accepts by December 5th.
Yes.
December 5th, I'm going to have a conversation with the other kid. Hey, we did offer him. Well, we'll probably call before we even offer the other kid. We'll say, hey, we're about to offer this kid. And if she accepts, I'm letting you know that your scholarship will then be off the table. Now, things could shake up by the end of the year and I might have money. If you're still available, I'll come back after you. But she knew what she wanted.
Okay. So you at least reach out and say, hey, this is what it is. I need an answer before we go and get this kid.
Because the reality is you were my first choice.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm going to let you know. But also know this is my job now. I got to have some kids that can play for me.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, you gotta eat, you know what I'm saying? In the program.
I tell them all the time, I love you. But don't forget, this is my job. This is how I feed my family. This is how bills get paid.
Absolutely. And it's not like the Gulf South is a pushover league either. You know what I mean?
Fall to the bottom real quick.
Yeah, so, things could be all lovely in 2021 and 2022. You guys could be at the basement, like you said, because you got out recruited. And you know what? Let me ask this as well as I think about this. How often do you take JUCOs?
We get JUCOs pretty often. I'd say we've probably had at least one or two. We didn't get any JUCOs this past year, but in my past three years, we have had at least one JUCO transfer.
Okay, got you. So
we don't get a lot, but we will occasionally if there's a need and there's a player that we want.
Okay, so I'm assuming like the rest of the schools that you guys are in the portal taking some of them drop downs too, right?
We got 2 D1 transfers this past year. That's why we didn't get a JUCO kid.
Jeez. So just to confirm, you're talking portal, JUCO, maybe international before high school, or not?
We go high school before international. International is probably the last. And most international that we've looked at have come from JUCO realm.
Okay, gotcha. So either way, that high school person is third in line.
No, not in that. We don't go that line. So we like high school first.
Okay.
High school first, JUCO second, transfer third.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we like to build our program. So we want a revolving door. We don't want to just keep getting JUCOs every year and have that, hey, she's in, she's out. She's in, she's out. We want kids that's going to build up in my program. So like I said, I think I have almost 8 on my roster that came in as freshmen.
Yeah.
Right now, 8 out of my 12. So
you're building them up and with player development and everything else, correct?
Yeah. Like my first year here, we had 5 seniors, and 4 of the 5 were 5th-year seniors.
Wow. Okay. So you automatically had to reload once that year was over and get to rolling.
We had 5 freshmen my second year. I mean, that same year we had 5 freshmen. So we had 5 seniors, 5 freshmen. Those freshmen, my first year, are now seniors.
And you have 8 seniors. No. How many do you have now?
Ooh, I need to go back and calculate this. I think I have about 6 or 7.
6 or 7. Okay.
Yeah. I got a few. I got those 5 freshmen and 2 transfers. So that's 7. 8 actually. Ooh.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So I think I have 6 that will actually graduate this year. But everybody has another year eligibility.
Well, yeah, they took the COVID year, right?
Yeah. So.
Man, jeez. People don't understand, like, these spots are becoming more and more coveted. Like, you guys are eating well off of drop downs, portal, JUCO. Like I said, even with that being said, you guys still prefer to go, high school, which I think is great because now everybody's formula now is portal, JUCO, because they want to go older.
They want experience.
Yeah,
I don't blame it.
Yeah,
I don't blame it. It's just that our culture at West Georgia is we really want kids to grow up in our program.
Gotcha.
I don't need older kids right now. I need some younger kids because my older kids are already in the program.
Yeah, that's true. So one last question for you, and I thank you for being on. When you're out there on the recruiting trail, and I always love to hear, your pitch. Why West Georgia?
I tell people all the time, West Georgia it has to be someone that wants this lifestyle because West Georgia gives you the little bit of country, little bit of city. We're close enough to everything, but far enough from everything as well. But West Georgia, like we talked about before, we have the facilities that match up with a lot of Division I's and some of the top Division II's. We have football. We have a competitive conference. We offer scholarship. I mean, we take care of our kids, but you have to want this life. We are all about family. We're all about, wanting you to be successful farther than basketball. And so for you to want to come to West Georgia, you got to want us. You got to want what we're going to offer to you. And that is, we want something other than basketball. We want a well-rounded kid. And so you're going to get a well-rounded university. So you got to be one of the people that fit into that. And you got to want it. I mean, we are a pretty big university. I think we're at 13,000 students.
That's a nice size. That's a real nice size.
And our football team, I love it. We have sports. We have things to do every day on campus. And so you got to want this life.
And one thing I do want to touch, like, I didn't know until this weekend, like, Carrollton is a sports town. Like, The high school,
yeah.
Yeah, the high school. I was like, man, they would tell me, yeah, it's usually a packed house for football games. It's packed for basketball games. They say, people that, well, the assumption would be with an arena like that, it's not being built like that. Nobody's coming because
we're trying to pack it up. We haven't had a packed house probably in a couple of years. The Lost is our in-state rival, so normally that game it's pretty much packed.
Okay.
Normally kind of like a homecoming type of thing. Different events going around it, but Carrollton is you're not coming to Carrollton unless you're coming to West Georgia or Carrollton High School.
That's true. That is definitely
that's the reality of it. Like I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I passed through Carrollton to go to Birmingham," or "I leave Birmingham to go to Atlanta," because we're right off of I-20. But unless you're actually driving to the university, you don't see the university. And then when you get on campus, you're like, "This is beautiful."
Absolutely.
This campus is a nice size. It's beautiful. It's up to date. I mean, our oldest buildings, they're in the process of remodeling. We just got a brand new business school, Richards College of Business, right at the front of campus, brand spanking new. I mean, we are in the process of being one of the best looking universities in the conference.
And I agree with that. I mean, before I went to West Georgia, the only time I stopped in Carrollton, everybody knows they got cheap gas right there at the exit. So I would always stop right there. I'm like, oh, the gas is on point right here. But, when I got to my little gas station, got to the exit, I was like, okay, I'm making a left, cut across the bridge. Well, about 8 to 10 miles down the road is West Georgia. And when I pulled up, I was like, wait a minute, this is nice. This is real nice. So as I'm coming in, there's some apartments over there on the left-hand side when you're coming on campus. Oh, okay, I'm driving up some more. Then you come there where you're forced to make a left or right. And then you make I think it's the right to get to the arena. Yeah, the stop sign, and you make a right to get to the arena. And I was like, oh, this is hitting right here. Because I accidentally pulled into the student rec center. When I first got there, I was like, man, it's kind of small. I was like, this is the gym. This is what kind of. They was like, no, it's the rec center. I was like, oh, well, where's the gym? There's us further down the street. I was like, okay. And I got there. I was like, okay, now we talking right here. I was like, yeah, this it right here. Okay. And like I said, I mean, for me to sit up here and say, hey, I want to go D1, and you don't get facilities near like what West Georgia has, you're almost getting bad advice. I said it, whatever. You're getting bad advice because somebody's, go D1, but the experience, the facilities, the conference, and I mean, like I said, I'll go ahead and say this as well. Yeah, some of them low D1s don't want to play, y'all. There's a reason why.
I mean, I tell kids all the time, I will never knock another school.
No, and it's not knocking.
No, I'm saying when I talk to kids, I'm saying I'll never knock another school, but make sure you do your research.
And they
I don't care if it's us. I don't care if it's the next school. It can be a D3 because there's some D3s that are nice.
Oh, yes. UAA schools? Absolutely. Absolutely.
You got to figure out what's the best fit for you. And another thing I tell kids is don't get attached to me. I might not be here next year. The head coach might not be here. Yeah, you want to like us, but the reality is if I get a new job offer, I'm gone. But you got to be at this university. You don't have to because we're in the life of the transfer portal. But this is the place you choose to go to school. So make sure you like the school for the school and you like your teammates for who they are too. Because those are the people that you're going to be down and dirty with. Mm-hmm. It's not the coaches that you love the coach, but you don't like the team.
That's the problem.
Them the people you spend your time with. Them the people that's going to be there for the rest of your life. The ones that was your teammates. Mm-hmm. So then the people you need to be doing your research on for real. Coaches, yes, because some of us out here, we're crazy. Everybody a different kind of crazy, I'm crazy too. I'll be the first one to tell you I'm a little psycho. But do I come from a good place with it? you know.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, there has to be some type of camaraderie where you show, hey, listen, I'm firm but fair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and you have to be respected as authoritative figure. You can't be, I'm your buddy all the time. Like, yeah, this is my job, and you do have to follow instructions because, again, what a lot of people don't understand, these scholarships are renewable every year.
Every year.
Every year.
I
And
can change that scholarship at Christmas if I need to. That's what they don't know.
wow.
But we try not to do that.
Yeah, understood. If that's a situation where things are completely wrong, somebody's being defiant, somebody's out here like, you don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And it's for the best for everybody. Direction. Yeah. And I get it. I mean, like you said, it's not the norm, but you're saying it can happen. You know what I'm saying?
Because like research. You just never know.
Oh,
that's what I tell these kids. Do your research. If you don't know who I am and you don't know my background, you ain't do your research.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. Even as we get ready to touch off on this, almost 90% of recruits don't do that. And then they become shocked when they get on campus and see who you really are. And that's not a shock. That's not a shot to you, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, but that we tell kids, like we have our elite camp, we have whole conversations with the kids, and we tell them, no matter what school you go to, make sure you talk to them players away from the coach. Mm-hmm. Talk to our players in the locker room away from us. Ask the real questions because that's the truth. Because we all gonna put on the show. We all gonna tell. We recruiters. We know how to spin everything to make it sound good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you want to know how much they really run you. How crazy is coach? What does the travel look like? Those kids will tell you exactly how it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely. What you need to be asking the real questions that you want to know, because when you get on campus, oh, they told me we rode the short bus. Oh, they told me I don't get a lot of gear. Like they told me, but they enjoyed their experience, so that's why I can't. Mm-hmm. I just think you got to do it one way or the other.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, Coach, you dropped some gems tonight. Like I said, you even dropped the one on me and be like, listen, you can be home by Christmas. And be like, oh, you can be home by Christmas. So, a lot of
8 days of Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas break will be a lot longer than what you thought. And you got to explain to mama and daddy, like, I'm not going back. Mm-hmm. Coach is tripping.
That's what they all say, ain't it?
Yeah, coach is tripping. And so now parents want to call you and say, why is my baby not coming back? You got to give the cold hard facts. Your baby came up here and was acting a fool. Acting a complete fool, talking about this is what she going to do and what she not going to do.
Well, and that's when I look at myself and I say, I didn't do my research. Sometimes it's a little crazy.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's going to be a 50-50 one to me, because even from AAU and high school, some people can completely pull the wool over your eyes. And like you say, you did your research, and they have other people snowed where you'd be like, oh, that's a great kid. I vouch for that kid. That a great young man, or young lady. And you get on campus, and 2 weeks later, you're like, what have I done? Oh, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah. It happens.
It happens.
College changes people sometimes.
Yeah, it does. Some for the good, some for the bad. We both know that. So, sometimes it's their first time away from home, and sometimes a little freedom is not handled correctly.
Enjoy your life, but handle your business.
There you go. There you go. Well, Coach, I definitely want to thank you for coming on the show. We had some cancellations, so I had some time to really kick it with you today. Yeah, I still can't believe I didn't see you yesterday. I mean, even though you said you didn't have anything on.
I was a little incognito. It's all right.
But it doesn't matter because you all give off the same aura.
We do.
You all give off the same aura. So I know. And plus, I was sitting right by the door as well. Like I was almost taking money. You know what I'm saying? I was right there because, I like to see who's coming in. Because as I'm tweeting out about this stuff, I'm paying attention to all that. I'm tweeting about the atmosphere. I'm tweeting about the game. I'm tweeting about what team is doing what and how they look. So I'm paying attention to everything. Like we said, when we saw the Chipola game, the first thing I said, I tweet out saying, it's a packed gym in here with about 15 to 20 coaches watching of different levels because you all had your eyes open for that one. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. But again, it was the aura. Some of y'all were sitting together or standing and talking. Some of y'all were sitting by yourselves with the clipboards, looking up and down, checking off numbers. So like I said, I pay all that attention. So whether you had on the West Georgia stuff and I'm like, oh, that's a coach or that's a scout. Because you can tell. You can definitely tell what it
that's
is.
Accurate. I can attest to that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and a lot of times, like you just may come as you walk by, just like, hey, how you doing? Even the way you speak back lets me know. You all have not that showmanship by that time, but you have the same demeanor. It's almost even killed that whole time because some of y'all don't like to be, if you're incognito, you don't want to be known as, hey, I'm a coach here. I'm here just trying to get in and out because I may be looking for one player and I didn't want the parents to know I was here at this game. Or the coach or what have you, AAU director, whoever.
I eat my mask.
I hear you. I definitely hear you. But Coach, listen,
yes.
I appreciate you. Fortunately, most of Atlanta knows about West Georgia and women and men because the men's coach is just as brutal as you are. When it comes
more brutal than me. I get on him all the time and be like, Coach Moore.
Yeah, he'll tell you in a heartbeat, nah, that's not a West Georgia kid. And I'm like, oh, geez, he don't play. Like, he runs that program. Now, you talk about somebody that runs that like it's a D1, him. Definitely like, nah, that's not him. Just doesn't have what I'm looking for. And I mean, it's brutally honest.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, brutally honest. Yeah. So, and you coming on the show and almost verbatim doing the same thing, it's that culture like, hey, we're West Georgia. We are interested in you, but at the end of the day, you may not be what we're looking for. And some people are like, excuse me, you all are D2. Excuse me. No, we're technically a high D2, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? You're a high D2. And they don't understand, like I'm just sitting there and I'm just sitting back in my little corner looking like, they don't understand this is basically a Division I program, but they're looking down or whatever the case, like, oh, please, what do you mean? Like, honey, I'll be want to say, honey, you have no idea what you're doing right now. You have no idea, but that's fine. You'll learn in about 2 or 3 months where the parents are calling back. I'd like to apologize, my daughter, for her behavior and this, that, and the other, but we're really interested now. Well, you had 4 other options, and we don't have that scholarship available now. I sent you to a JUCO, or I had a homegirl at a D3 or NAIA that might be looking, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. But Coach, thank you again so much. Like I said, we almost shooting the breeze like we not even on the show. Just
look, I gotta get ready for my day tomorrow. I'm an old lady. I'll be in the bed by 9.
I definitely appreciate you. I definitely want to get out there. I want to get out there for the Valdosta game because I want to see what that atmosphere looks like on a rivalry game day. Do you guys, last question, do you guys play the same time as the men, or is it the men are down in Valdosta when you all are playing at home?
We did mirror scheduling last year, but this year we'll play at the same time.
Okay, gotcha. Coach, I appreciate you. Definitely appreciate you. I had a blast talking to you. For you people that don't know about West Georgia, you better ask somebody. Or as Coach says, do your research before you go approach her.
Do your research. I don't care where you go. Do your research.
Absolutely.
Do it on West Georgia now.
We will definitely be in contact soon, and thank you again for coming on the show. You have a good one, okay?
Of course. Nice to meet you, and nice to have a good conversation with you.
All right. You take care. I was Coach Shaw. Gotta love her for being brutally honest. And you know what? That's needed, because if you're not held accountable when people are coddling you, you're going to get your feelings hurt and getting disappointed, because college coaches are going to tell you what it is. Now, sure, they're trying to recruit you and say, hey, we really want you. We'd like to have you, this, that, and the other. But the minute you step on campus and it's showtime, all that's out the door, because you got 9, 10 other girls that they recruited and pretty much gave that same pitch to, and now you got to perform. And if you don't perform, as she said, sometimes you may not even make it past Christmas. You may be packing your stuff. Now, those situations are far and few in between, but understand that this is how they eat. This is how they feed their families. So they're being held accountable by administration. And if you're not being held accountable, next thing you know, you may have to leave by force, because they may have lost their job, and now here comes a new coaching staff, and they don't want you. So, small tidbits for today. Unfortunately, a couple of our other guests had to cancel, and we're going to reschedule them. One of the things I loved about this past weekend, I just want to give a few shots out. Thank you to Jerry Mullen. And also thank you to Corey Black and Coach Potter as well. I was in Dallas for an incredible JUCO event, one of the biggest JUCO showcases in the country every year. The Mullen Mitchell Dallas shootout. It was awesome. I had a great time meeting a lot of coaches. And then I flew right back Saturday night so I can get ready for Sunday morning for coming to Corey Black's event and Coach Potter's event. And man, they knocked it out the park. It was in Carrollton, and man, coaches drove, because like I said earlier in the podcast, there was Mississippi State, there was Penn State, there was your West Georgias, there was your King's Colleges, there was your Tuskegees, there was a plethora, there was your Gardner Webbs, there was your Alabama A&Ms, and those are just schools I'm thinking about. Florida Gulf Coast was there, Towson was there. There was a number of coaches in the building, and I said, man, they're really doing it. And I think that JUCO event that Coach Black and Coach Potter have is going to only get bigger and better on the women's side. And for you people that are not that up on women's basketball, even JUCO or even D1, D2, or D3, go out there and check it out. Some good basketball being played this past weekend, and I really enjoyed myself. We're going to wrap it up a little early today at 8:30. I definitely appreciate you guys coming on for episode 31. We definitely have a lot of content coming next week with the guests that we have booked. Definitely keep checking us out. We're going to keep improving this thing. We're going to keep setting this stage and this platform for kids to be noticed and to be seen. And we appreciate y'all for coming and checking us out. Have a good night.